Farm Credit of Western Kansas presents Open Spaces Sports Shorts with Rich Epp.
Well, Coach, let's talk a little bit about your team as you head into the season. First of all, you got to replace, everybody has to replace good players. And you had some really good players a year ago that you've lost. You've got to regroup and find new ones. What kind of numbers do you have, and who's going to be the guys you're going to lean on for leadership?
Right now we're at about 42, 45 players, and, we have a group of seniors that there's a handful of them that played some last year for us. So we have some experience coming back with some big guys up front. Our offensive line has 3 guys coming back that played a lot, a tight end that played a lot for us last year. So we're going to rely on our guys up front to really give us some leadership and some drive this season. And then we're going to have to work in a lot of young kids at different skill positions. So it's going to be an interesting year for us. I'm excited, a lot of new faces, but we're taking it in stride and we're going.
You know, when you lose a guy like you lost last year, you lost a couple like that, but how hard is it to replace, particularly on the skill positions?
We had a lot of kids in that senior class that graduated this past year that played a lot of years for us, and had a lot of experience. Very talented group of kids. We're going to miss a lot of them, We've had to change some things up that we're going to do this year just because I don't want to put some of our younger kids in those situations that we expected out of those older guys last year. So people are going to see a little different attack from us on both sides of the ball this year, but I'm excited to see how they learn this preseason, how they take it in stride, and what we can do come week 1 against Holcomb.
When you open up the season, as you look at the schedule and as you look at the season and into district play down the road, and it is all about down the road, so to speak, how do you assess the conference and then the district play as it approaches?
I'm of the opinion that the GWAC is one of the toughest conferences in the state, top to bottom. If you don't bring it every Friday night, then you could have a long evening. And Holcomb this year, defending state champions, they lost kind of in the same boat as us. They lost a lot of guys. I think they only have a handful of returning starters back, but Coach Teeter, good friend of mine, always has his teams ready to play, so that's a tough start. Then we go to Ulysses, and our condolences are with them and the loss of Coach Kenny this year. They're always a tough team just because they have good numbers and they play really hard, and I imagine they'll be inspired to play for him. And then Scott City is going to be really tough this year. They might be one of the favorites in 3A, I would think. And then we get into our district, which is no tough slouch either. We have a non-district game against Oakley that we're looking forward to. They'll be a good team. Coach Hennick does well with them. And then you get into, Concordia, Russell, Beloit is going to be really good. Colby's going to be really good again. And so we have a really tough schedule again this year, but I'm excited to see how tough our kids are when we, face those teams each and every Friday.
The Activity Association came out with new rules about practices early on in the year, went away from the 2-a-days that all of us have been accustomed to. How have you handled that, and what has been your approach to having to deal with that?
I know why they're doing it, to keep kids safe when it gets to the heat and everything. We've lost some teaching time. Our kids are really engaged in the summer. I think about 70% of our roster was here this summer working with us in the weight room, learning scheme, things like that, camps and things like that. But then there's also some of those guys that don't show up till preseason practice, and they've lost time to get acclimated to our schemes, how we do things, and the conditioning part of it. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there. I get the point, and I commend them for keeping kids safe, but then we've lost some teaching time. So we've really had to be efficient with our practice time so far. And so it's just something we have to adjust to. Coaches and educators, that's what we do, is adjust. And so we're going to make the best of it and hit the ground running.
Listen, good luck to you for the Cowboys this year, 2018. We'll be following you on Open Spaces Sports.
Hey, thanks, Rich.
All right. Coach Topliff joined us, the head football coach of the Goodland Cowboys. Brought to you by Farm Credit of Western Kansas. Many businesses throughout the Goodland area. Rich Epp for OpenSpacesSports.com.